Hi everyone, and welcome back to another Bork No Game video. Today's video is dedicated to new area guidelines for free-to-play or budget players. If you're wondering what I'm referencing, when you go into main quest, there's going to be a new area dropping in normal. In this time, we are getting area 12, alright? When you jump into hard mode, the areas are going to be available only if you have beat normal. So let's go ahead and jump into the Google spreadsheets and tell you what are the priorities. When it comes to this, the first thing you should be notating is whether you are a clan battle or PvP focused person. That way you know which unit you should be raising. If you're clan battle focused, then probably raise someone like Makoto. If you're more PvP oriented, then raise the appropriate meta PvP unit at the time. Now, if there is a new event currently occurring, so for example, in our situation, we have the Ilya event currently occurring right here. Might be different in the future situation, right? But the point is, we should not be farming this until we prioritize which unit. And I feel that you should also clear the new area out if you can. If you cannot clear out the new area, I would focus on building your units, doing whatever you need to do to raise appropriate units by doing stamina refreshes, what have you. Do not try to tackle the new area and doing the hard mode and the rest of advice if you have not technically raised your characters to beat hard mode. I think the priority for newer players should be progression over just beating the new content, right? So what I mean by that is make sure like your Makotos and all your different units are able to tackle like the events and stuff. If you can't tackle like new areas, then don't do that. The biggest thing that I want us to do is get to at least to the point where you can beat around 12-2 or the new area's second stage. The reason being is because usually the second stage provides like an amulet or a fragment or a new weapon that's widely used amongst different characters, which is the Sun Amulet in this situation. And on the first stage, you will get something like this, the Luna Bracelet, which is the counterpart that other characters are mostly using. And then here you can see the Luna Bracelet is also available. If you actually go back to the previous stages like Area 11, you can see here that Eriko provides the Elemental Heart on her hard stage as well. And if you jump back one, it's going to be providing the Sacrificial Bangles. If you jump one, it's actually going to be providing the Divine Heart again. So this is usually a common occurrence between the new areas dropping. There will always be like two exceptional items like the Bangles or pretty much the Elemental Heart that will be farmable and be available on like the first two stages. And this one, it's going to be the Selene's Lament Fragment, alright? The main focus when a new area unlocks is getting through all of the hard mode, because the hard mode is going to have the best drops, the latest gear, and it's not best to farm normal mode, especially if there's no normal 2x drop. If there was a normal 2x drop, then I would highly advise folks to pretty much farm this area. Since there hasn't been an announcement for any normal 2x drop rate up, then you shouldn't really be, saving your stamina in order to farm this place. If there is an announcement for when a patch drops and then normal 2x drops XYZ date, then feel free to save your stamina until then. There hasn't been any announcements, so feel free to go crazy on hard mode. Now, some of you are probably wondering, what about events that we covered earlier? Now, when it comes to events, I feel like the most important part is clearing out the metal gacha. What I mean by that is you are at least up to lineup 5+. In the future, there'll be lineup 6+, all right? Make sure to clear those out. Lineup 1, usually you can skip because there's not too much stuff in it. Lineup 2 through 4 or 2 through 5, those are generally worth it. Now, if you're wondering as a newer player or as a current player, which is more worth it? Is it the event or the gear? I'm gonna let you flip a coin on that because it really is like topsy-turvy with this one. The event is good if you're trying to farm some divine amulets, maybe some jewels, not really. But the Divine Amulets is slightly better. And when it comes to spending your stamina in order to acquire gear in the new areas, especially in normal mode, it's really not advised. I suggest, going into hard mode to farm the new story. So speaking of that, let's go ahead and jump right into here. This is going to be my early morning progress when I logged in and I was like, all right, I have 900 stamina. I need to complete all of my tasks so I can use the stamina within the appropriate times, because I don't want to miss out on the 300 stamina, not to mention like the 150 stamina that I get from leveling up. So obviously you see here I go from 93 to 94 in this section. And now I'm like, all right, so I need to see what happened here. Did I get any stuff in the mail? Okay, so I pretty much go through the day so I can expend the appropriate stamina. You can see I'm claiming 162 stamina. 152 stamina from the player level up, and then the 10 stamina from the clan like from yesterday, and then the 312 guild house stamina is from yesterday, all right? So I just want to like tie that all in comparison because that was what was referenced in order to maximize my stamina for a different day, okay? So that's where I got that stamina. It's from saving it from different days. So you can see here, I am essentially spamming my stamina for the sun amulets because I feel that's necessary for my carry. And then once I do that, I go into a sort of state of depression because, as you know, those amulets or these fragments, when there's 30 of them and there's normal 2x drops, it's absolute cancer to get them. And now I'm going to go claim my stamina, get the 312 before the day runs out. And now I have that much stamina in order to tackle the rest of the day. So that was the important bits regarding like all the stamina pieces. If you're trying to min-max your stamina to that degree, ideally get to a normal stage that drops something like the Sun Amulet Fragment or a very important piece of gear that applies to multiple characters. For me in particular, I'm going to advise free-to-play or budget players to build one unit at a time. So for example, in my situation, the very first unit, since I'm a clan battle focused person, is making sure that Makoto has the appropriate gear. So I got that Sun Amulet on her as soon as possible. Now, one of the biggest things that I said on the Google spreadsheet was do not raise more than 3 units at a time for an area drop. I would even say don't raise more than 1 unit at a time for a new area drop, all right? If you didn't know, what is my conclusion between events and, farming new gear? Personally, I feel like farming like the normal mode, irrelevant. You should not do that. Farm events if you need it, and then just do stuff in hard mode as usual. Generally, when there are no events and I've completed like everything that needs to be done within normal, there's no normal 2x or anything like that, everything's like your normal day-to-day, I usually focus on hard shard farming, making sure I can get enough shards for Eriko so that she can be 5-star, making sure that I can get enough shards for someone like Shori who's going to be 5-star ideally. That should be the focus of most endgame players. For most newer players, I recommend you still pushing content. I recommend you going into the hard modes and still getting those shards, but most of all focusing on the hard shards that you really need and also the gear that you need. So for example, this Sunblade fragment is very necessary in this section. A lot of characters are going to be using it. So that sort of like wraps everything up. Hard mode should be the priority when a new area drops or as you're progressing through the game, all right? Don't try to tackle events if you can't really do it yet, because one of the traps for events is doing them and you don't really require like anything from the metal gacha or you can't defeat the hard boss. As you can see here, my event, they're all 3 out of 3. Reason being is because I don't need any of these shards, and also I am on lineup 5+ and I don't plan to pretty much farm more of this event, all right? So let's go ahead into quests and do some arena for the day. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day with everything. All right, we're going to be fighting this team since this is the classic stalls. If we can't beat it, oh well. If we do, super awesome. Princess Arena has been super competitive as of late. Also, hopefully this new area guide can translate to more areas in the future. I know not every single area drops gear. The most important part is I think stamina prioritization is very tricky. The important part is always focusing on hard mode, just because of the fact that hard mode has better drop rates for all gear. I don't recommend farming normal mode for gear, especially during non-2x modes, just because it's seriously a waste of time. I really just want to hammer that home. And events, usually they're for getting more jewels, getting more divine amulet. Events really aren't the place to farm gear, all right? The gear that exponentially like drops from like events, it's kind of bad in my opinion because it's so random. You can get anything from gold gear within like, I believe like it's a 5-level gap within your like current tier. The issue is like it's random pieces of gear and sometimes it's not even good gear. So I suggest just focusing your stamina into hard mode because it has specific drop rates for shards and it also has the best drops rates in the entire game. All right, it looks like we are getting stalled out with this team. I feel free to copy this team as, the Ilya sort of stall team. I haven't seen this one before. It's most likely because I'm bringing too many like support units in this specific fight. So I'm glad to see that slowly but surely people are figuring out the new stall meta as teams. I'm not sure if like Ninon can absolutely obliterate this. I'm pretty sure if I had like a Kyoka or more attack based units, we would have been fine. Obviously my team was a little bit too defensive, so these are going to be the units. And as you can see, Tamaki was not present. June was there. That was fairly different. No Miyako was available and June was was 4-star. I think that's why it was a little bit more effective, because June was able to tank more hits. I'm not an arena expert. I just wanted to hit number 1 and all that stuff. Let's see if we can fight something here that looks sort of doable. All right, we'll do this one. Also, I'm curious if you guys are, what are folks sort of preparing for? There's definitely going to be a new banner after the Ilya event. Right here, we get absolutely crushed since I should have used the Ilya team. I don't even know if we're going to make it to the last team. Well, there we go. Take the L like a champ. But this is the one that I feel like we're probably still gonna lose. I thought I had the Ilya team on the first one. If you're wondering why I lose these so often, generally when I'm making content and stuff, this is just like background information. I have to make sure everything flows appropriately. If I stop and stall, cut in, cut out, it just makes the take way harder. So, if I was a PvP focused channel, then I would take my time, pick the correct units and all that stuff. But this channel isn't really PvP focused right now. I mean, I don't plan to. I usually try not to get sweaty as a player. I like to focus on more like team oriented things, because that's generally what I like in games. I've never been like a sort of PvP player. I like to stay relevant enough so that I can play the game, but not like competitive to the point that I need to understand the meta and like live, breathe, and eat it like 24/7, have like maxed up units and all that stuff. I just hope that my area guide helps you out, because this is what I've been doing since the start of the game. Every single time something new drops, I try to clear out the normal mode, go for the hard mode, get the shards, get the appropriate units that I need to do, raise them one at a time, try not to focus my resources on too many units, because I feel like a lot of the issues is you focus on too many units and you get overwhelmed. If you're wondering how I have so much mana and all that stuff, it's mostly because of the fact that I have not raised a lot of units, alright? So from pretty much like Ray and down, like all of these units I have not raised. I know some people who've raised like Reno, Ninon, Ekino, Kyoka, all these units. I don't have them, but I'm pretty sure like everyone wants to raise them. If you raise too many units at once, if you focus on PvP and clan battle all at the same time, you are not going to have fun as a free-to-play player, because your resources cannot take it. It's my largest advice to everyone, and I hope you're enjoying your time in Princess Connect. If you made it this far, consider subscribing, dropping a like, leaving a comment, follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter. Once we hit 20,000 subs, we're doing a giveaway. Thanks so much for watching. Have yourself a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next one.